Hi guys, so this is the video which has gone viral a few days back. It was retweeted by several IAS officer. So it shows the situation, a pathetic situation post monsoon and several other events in our urban areas, especially in metro cities like Delhi, where there are so many congestions within the household. So these type of incidents occur with frequently. So they should be take care with children and everybody. So this is a reminder of that pathetic situation that we are facing. Also, before starting this, I will remind you with this very small quote. The quote is, "Work hard in silence. Let success make the noise." So this is very much meaningful for the UPSC aspirants. There will be a lot of pressure for you from outside, and there will be so many comments regarding you. You have to give up several your entertainments like family functions and everything, but never leave hope. Be silent and work hard, because one day your success will surely make the noise for you. So be patient and be work hard. Okay, so on this background, I invite you all for today's editorial discussion and news analysis dated 18th August 2022. So let's begin the discussion. The first news for today's discussion is about Rohingya issue. So what is in news? Ministry of Home Affairs overrules Minister's tweets on providing flats to Rohingyas. Recently, there was a comment by a minister of providing flat to Rohingya asylum seekers, but Ministry of Home Affairs had overruled this. Also, the similar news is trending in Twitter and several other social medias about Rohingya and the issue of resettling them. What about other political leaders saying? Many of them are concerned about the security, that about national security, that if they are resettled, they will lead to a lot of radicalization among the Muslims and will have terror threats from their parts. So they are very dangerous to the national security. This is what several other political leaders are saying. So this map shows the exact migration path of these Rohingya Muslims. So many of them have migrated from Myanmar's Rakhine province. Is from this province they get migrated to Bay of Bengal, from there to West Bangladesh, and then reaches West Bengal in India. So major concentration is from West Bengal. From there they are migrating to other metro cities, especially to Delhi, where there are many illegal migrants of Rohingyas. First of all, we must know who is this Rohingya Muslims. So according to United Nations, this Rohingya Muslim section of population is the most persecuted minority in the world. That means in the world there are a lot of minorities like Jewish, Zoroastrians, several other religious groups are there in Africa and several other parts of the world. But among this minority group, the most persecuted minority group in the world is this Rohingya Muslims. They have to flee from their homeland due to crackdown by Myanmar's military. You know that Myanmar is a country which was frequently in a tussle with democracy and junta government, where military take on the rule. So in order to escape from the discrimination and violence in Myanmar, minority Rohingya Muslims for decades fled from the Buddhist majority countries to neighboring Bangladesh and other countries, including India. So they are fleeing from their uh, home country due to the fear of having persecution from the majority population like Buddhist. So this is the main reason that Rohingya crisis is in news. Okay. This Rohingya is an ethnic group which is representing the largest percentage of Muslims in Myanmar. That means in Myanmar the majority population is Buddhist, but among the minority population there are Muslims, and this Rohingya forms the majority of the ethnic population group of Muslims in Myanmar. They are mainly concentrated on the western Myanmar province. That map I shown you, that they are located on the western Myanmar province known as Rakhine. So their main dialect is in Bengali. That means their way of communication is in Bengali. But majority of the population in Myanmar use Burmese language. The issue is that in 1982 there was a Myanmar nationality law which denied citizenship for Rohingyas. From that time onwards, there will flow of Rohingyas from Myanmar to Bangladesh cities known as Cox's Bazar, taken over by refugee settlement. That means they migrated to Bangladeshi city known as Cox's Bazar, where they are demanded for refugee settlement. So Bangladesh started relocating Rohingya refugees from overcrowded camps of Cox's Bazar to Bashar Char Island. So this is a very important place because it frequently is news. So this Bashar Char Island is in Bangladesh. You can expect this location in your prelims map pointing. So from there they are migrating to other parts of the world, especially to West Bengal state of India. This Bashar Island location is all about. It is also known as Char Pia or Tengar Char Island in the island of Hathia state of Bangladesh. So it surfaced only 20 years ago and was never inhabited. It was found in the Himalayan slit from the mouth of river Meghna in 2006, spanning 40 square kilometers. River Ganga enters Bangladesh. It is known as Meghna. So when it forms a delta in Sundarbans, it also forms a huge delta in Bangladesh counterpart also. So there are several island parts in this delta region where it frequently undergoes submergence during high tide and re-emergence during low tide. Among them, such an island is known as Bhashan Char Island, and it was found by river Meghna in the Bangladesh region. So it is known as floating island and it emerged from the slit around 20 years ago. It regularly floods during June-September monsoon season. So you must know how difficult the situation of Rohingyas are. There we can survive in the land only for a few months. The remaining period they are facing the crisis of flood. So what are the issues and concerns of this Rohingya settlement to India's security? This is a major perspective that we are looking at to India's security. First and foremost is it is threat to national security. This is because they are illegal migrants. We don't have any migration policy or to say resettle the immigrants. So they are illegal immigrants, which is a threat to national security in almost all aspects. Next is clash of interest. Already there are so much clash of interest within the country due to huge diversity. Among them, the accommodation of such a diverse ethnic group is also leading to several clash of interest. Political instability. Because the accommodation of these Rohingyas can increase the political instability where the leaders start mobilizing perception of the citizens of the country against the migrants. So this can also lead to political tussle. We all know that majority of these illegal migrants of Rohingyas will be unemployed. There are huge chance that they will get radicalized by the extremist group and it can lead to an increase in militancy in our country. For an example, in Jammu and Kashmir, where there is a peak in militancy due to the radicalization by the extremist group on the youth of that region. Then human trafficking. This Rohingyas will be a major portion of the human trafficking, especially for sex workers, child labor and everything. So there will be an issue of human trafficking. It will be cause a disturbance in law and order. The rule of law and the integrity of the country are undermined by the illegal migrants who are engaged in illegal and anti-national activities. So it is a serious threat to rule of law. Another challenge is about migration. In India, it is estimated by United Nations Human Rights Commissioner that around 40,000 refugees are settled in India. Then Islamic extremism will be there due to radicalization. There will be political tension, especially in the regions like Delhi, Jaipur, where there are very pathetic situation of minority populations are there. It will lead to huge tension. The Northeast security, it is also under the lens. This is mainly because already Northeast is very fragile due to the clash of various ethnic groups like Nagas, Bodos in the Northeast region. So again, an accommodation to a vulnerable ethnic group like Rohingyas will further add on fire to this ethnic clashes in Northeast security, which is a crucial area for India for the connectivity to Southeast and other part of the world. Okay. So this infographic gives you the summing up information about the crisis. So who are Rohingyas we already discussed, and this gives a timeline of the issues on how they become such a persecuted minority. So in 1978 there was an operation carried out by the Myanmarese government known as Operation Clean and Beautiful Nation, where they tried to cleanse the population which are illegal to that country, especially after passing the nationality law in that country. Over that, after that period, majority of the Rohingyas were cleaned by the military of that region by persecuting them, throwing out by their throwing out from their country or from the Rakhine province in Myanmar. So this is how the migration path followed. They were persecuted from the Rakhine province in the Myanmar. They have to flee to Bangladesh. Some population also been thrown to Bay of Bengal, where they traveled and reached to several other countries in the Southeast Asia like Indonesia, Malaysia, etc. It is said that majority, a huge population, had to live within a small boat for months. You know how pathetic the situation is, that the basic survival of a human is only offered when they have human rights protected, especially that right to live, right to have a shelter, right to have food. If all these rights are gone, then there's not that much survival in this world. So that's why they are known as most persecuted minority in the world. What could be the way forward in India's contest? So first and foremost is we needed to have a refugee protection framework, because the country cannot move forward with its democratic credential like Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. We have the philosophy that we preach whole world without having a proper refugee protection framework. In spite of not being a party of 1951 Refugee Convention and its protocol, India has been one of the largest recipients of the refugees in the world. We always had refugees from different parts of the world. Example, in the vulnerable neighbors like Afghanistan, even Pakistan, and Bangladesh, and now this Rohingyas issue. The another one is there is a need for a SARC framework, that South Asian Regional Cooperation Framework, in order to accommodate these refugees, because majority of them are concentrated on the South Asian region. So there must be a framework within the South Asian region, and there must be a consensus between the various countries in the South Asia region to accommodate these minorities, so that they can utilize this human resource for their own benefit. In the next topic for today's discussion. So next topic is regarding the tussle between center and state or IAS posting. So this is almost an evergreen topic, because every year such an issue comes, and it can be correlated to GS paper 2 to the topic role of civil services in democracy. First of all, we must know how civil services evolved in our country. Especially when such a questions of evolution is asked, we always look into a framework of temporal aspect. That means on time frame. So first time frame is from ancient time. So whenever in a bureaucracy or something like kingdom or something related to bureaucracy of the ancient time is asked, always quote the Kautilya's Arthashastra, because it is the epic book which tells about the bureaucracy of that time. So this Kautilya's Arthashastra stipulates 7 basic elements. It gives the basic idea of the bureaucracy at that time. So according to Ardhashastra, the higher bureaucracy consists of mandarins and amatyas, while the mandarins were the highest advisors to the king and amatyas were civil servants. It is similar to the current aspect. Currently, who is the king? PM is the king. Then he has ministers assisting him, and these ministers are supported by bureaucrats, especially collectors. Okay, so in ancient time it was king, and these ministers became mandarins, and the civil servants collectors become amatyas. We are just following that framework currently also. That's why this book has still much significance in the current aspect also. So now look into the next period, that is medieval period. This period was where we have Mughal invasion, Islamic invasion to our country. Especially during the time of Mughal era, the bureaucracy was based on Mansabdari system. So what is this Mansabdari system? It is essentially a pool of civil servants available for civil and military deployment. That means, in order to get patronage of the king had a pool of servants between them, whom they gave allotted lands known as mansab, so that they should act as a revenue collectors. At the same time, they should also provide protection to the king whenever it is required. So they had to play a dual role for civil and military deployment. So such a dual role played by that time is known as Mansabdari system. Okay, this was a peculiarity of medieval period. Now comes the British India era, colonial period. In colonial period, the civil services got an upliftment by the Macaulay's report of 1835. Before that, a majority of the civil service appointment and everything was carried out by English East India Company. But the process was not transparent. Huge corruptions were charged to many of the officers within the English East India Company. As a result of which, a Macaulay report was given in 1835. And this report recommended that only the best and brightest would do for Indian civil service, so as to serve the interest of the British Empire. So you must know not the significance, how much important this India was to British at that time, because it was like a, what to say, a golden parrot for British Empire. That much resources were looted by British Empire at that time. So they needed a best and brightest one to be part of the civil servant at that time. Okay. Now in the post-independence India. Post-independence India, it was the work of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, which gave a formal framework to the civil services. From that time onwards, it was considered as steel cage of our bureaucracy, or our steel cage in our bureaucracy. So it was based on an open entry system based on academic achievements and permanency of tenure. This was the main criteria for having the civil servants in the administrative system. Let's look into what are the challenges faced by Indian civil services. These challenges which are faced by Indian civil servants have been in the book for several decades, so not much have been changed. Whenever a question asked about critically examining the condition of Indian civil service, you must note down these challenges. So please take note of these challenges, which is very much important. First and foremost challenge is about status quest. This means that this Indian civil servants is always resistant to change. They always wanted to remain in the same position what they wanted. They don't appreciate any changes, or they are not dynamic in nature. Okay, this is because they are always wedded with some privileges and prospects. You know that uh, red beacon culture the bureaucracy earlier had. They always had a privilege of having a red beacon car and everything, but it was thrown away in 2014, I think. So like this, they enjoyed a lot of privileges from post-independence time onwards. But some changes were taken place by the 73rd and 74th Amendment Act, where role of people from the grassroots level were emphasized, so that this bureaucracy hurdles has to be removed, or that inertia has to be removed. But not that much has been achieved as visioned by the 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment Act. The next challenge which is said is about Indian bureaucracy becoming a rule book bureaucracy. That nothing much is given by the bureaucrats beyond the rule book they are given. Their behavior is very much like a robotic in nature. So they will work only within the rule book. But actually, the issue is that an emotionally intelligent approach is essential for bureaucrats to excel in their service, because we are dealing with people. Their situation changes, so the emotional intelligence they are having is very less. They are mainly a rule book bureaucracy. This will lead to issues like red tapeism, corruption, and other complicated procedure within this bureaucratic behavior. It is political interference. This is a evergreen problem from ancient, not ancient, from the post-independence time onwards. This is a critical issue, especially when there is a strong government under the center. It will always have a tussle with the states in the federal issues. So during that time, these bureaucrats are mainly used as weapons for their political interests. So there is always a political interference. And second, the ARC in its report clearly said that there is a need for reducing this political interference for the bureaucracy to work with much more efficiency. Another important challenge that the service is facing is structural challenge. It is mainly in the issue of generalist office. We all know that in civil service examination, a candidate is recruited and he is given a general training, not any specific or any particular training for any particular field. They are giving a generalist approach, and he is inducted to various ministries and various cadre, everything. But due to the current changing scenario, there is need for focus of generalists in several issues. For an example for this is rising cybercrime issues or disaster issues. So in these areas, it is very much essential to have a specific person having knowledge in that area. So a generalist approach is actually posing huge challenges to the efficiency in the working of bureaucracy in the current regime. Okay, this is one of the important issue of structural issue faced by bureaucracy. So what are the steps that can be taken? So whenever there is a issue, or we have steps that we needed to take in order to increase the efficiency of a human resource, we must look into how we can increase the efficiency in all these levels. from beginning on the recruitment level, from then training, then evaluation, and then governance. So during recruitment level, it is always wanted to have some specialist person to them. So lateral entry is suggested right now. And during training period also, then it is suggested to have much more competition during the training period, so that much more efficiency can be imparted. Then evaluation is also recommended to have change with more 360-degree appraisal evaluation is needed. And governance system also, there is more focus on e-governance, use of technology, and regular training in order to increase the efficiency of the bureaucrats. Recommendation: first is rationalization and harmonization of services. Almost 60 plus services are there which to which various civil services are accommodated. So it is suggested to rationalize this large number of services. Now the second recommendation is encouraging lateral entry. So a person who has served in several other places, like especially in private sector, and has knowledge from that sector, will be a value addition to the bureaucracy. So there are several recommendations for encouraging a lateral entry to civil services. Then outsourcing service delivery, especially in the aspect of e-governance, there is huge demand for outsourcing. So recently this TCS is getting many of the government contract and project regarding their various e-governance initiative. Likewise, we should outsource these delivery services to several other efficient ones, so that we can increase the efficiency of our service delivery to the common people. So on training aspect, so there is a need to develop an ongoing training and immersion modules on a district by district basis. So we must have an increased focus on training on district by district basis, and also we must include a code of ethics along with code of conduct. Currently what we had is code of conduct on how much on the behavior aspect we must look at, but we must also follow a code of ethics, which is very much essential. Then during the evaluation time, there is a need for having a institute a goal setting and tracking, and compulsory retirement for underperforming, incentivizing, etc. An example for this is Sparrow, a smart performance appraisal report recording online window. Such an online initiative will frequently track the work of these civil servants, and so that they can know their own drawbacks and work upon it for their own improvement. So it is a very good initiative. Then E-initiative. There are several E-initiatives to boost the efficiency of the civil servants. First is a robust vigilance mechanism, a strengthened institutional mechanism to prevent detection of corruption. So it is very much essential to weed out corruption from our bureaucracy. So a robust vigilance mechanism is very much needed. And also strengthening the implementation of centralized public grievance redressal and monitoring system. So it is a centralized portal where public grievance is taken up. So we must strengthen this so that we can reach up to people very efficiently and in a transparent manner. And implementation of e-office, so that the issue of red tapeism and everything can be removed with these initiatives like e-office. Then prompt delivery of services. This is known as Nolan's framework for efficient public life. It was earlier it was adopted in UK in among the public servants. So what are the several standards that must be looked at by a civil servant? First is accountability. So accountability is what it's a responsibility, or it is a power that a bureaucrat must possess so that he can work efficient within the service. So he must take the responsibility of what he had done or what he is going to do. Selflessness. There should not be any biasness to any activities by the bureaucrats. They should do it with a selflessness mind. Integrity. So integrity is one means the whole should be in a proper manner. That means they should work in a whole rather than within peace of mind. They should work in a what to say, in a truthful manner. Okay. Then objectivity. Objectivity is one mainly important for bureaucrats, especially when they are working with people. This objectivity is mainly given importance to facts. They should always give emphasis to facts for everything they have been doing. The leadership quality. It is an emotional intelligent thing that a civil servant must possess in order to have an efficient connection with people at the grassroots level. Then honesty. Honesty is a important virtue for bureaucrats in order to overcome issues of corruption. Then openness. Should be openness to all things. Don't be resistant to the changes. Should be open to every dynamic situation that's coming around you. So this is the 7 principles of public life that a bureaucrat must possess. This is very much important for your GS for ethics code of conduct topic also. Okay. So this is the general framework that I have given you for in boosting the efficiency of civil servants. Please remember these things. Okay. So this is all for today's discussion. Hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel for the future updates. Thank you.